Hey everybody, it's Rev. I'm going to try something a little bit different here today. This is a painting I did off stream, although it's sort of in the style of the Artcade streams that I used to do. It's of the church in Pochinki, and you can get it on colinmullen.com now. Obviously, you'd probably want to wait until the end to see how it turns out. I had a lot of fun doing this one. Honestly, it was a learning experience just to figure out how the camera worked. I recently bought a new DSLR just so I could take pictures of prints, and it's a good camera, but I didn't know how to use it for like the first half, so you'll kind of notice that I actually was able to record it in 1080p, but for some reason I can't actually render 1080p videos. The blur goes away. Every now and then blur that kind of happens. I figured out how to set it to manual focus rather than continuous autofocus. Should mean that anytime my hand moves in front of it, it doesn't autofocus again. Hopefully that fixes things. So this is the church in Pochinki. If you've ever played PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, you probably know of this church. It's a church pretty much dead center of the map. It's a good spot if you're playing solo queue squad like I do. I like to play squad just because it's more fun than, I guess, solo. I like talking to people and kind of having a good time. Temporary friendship, and we just joke around about things, and it's a good experience. It probably took me longer than I would have normally. This specific day that we're seeing here, I just could not paint right at all. There are days like that. It's part of the reason I don't like doing Artcade on stream, is because inevitably that's the day that I can't paint. Like, I don't remember how to paint. My hand's just doing weird things. You'll notice right there's a little ledge that does not need to be there. I'm not sure why I've painted it. I think I'm just dumb. Anyway, I'm not sure whether or not I will continue to put these on after hours or not. You're going to have to let me know whether or not you even like this content. Eventually, if there is enough of a want or a need for this kind of content, I will post it on probably a new channel that's just for this. So definitely let me know either way. If you guys don't enjoy it, then I can just paint off stream. I'm going to be doing it anyway, and it shouldn't affect the amount of uploads on either channel, really, because, I mean, I do this basically when I'm not streaming anyway. It's kind of an idea that I've cribbed from a few other people. I think it's just called speed painting. I'm not terribly into the community of artists on YouTube, so I apologize. But I noticed that's basically the concept, is just you paint and film it. I feel like art is a little bit better of an idea for a stream than, or a video than, say, a stream would be. Just because I don't have to worry about screwing up. I don't have to worry about what I'm listening to or what I'm doing. I can just sort of mindlessly work at it at any speed and then speed it up, and it makes it a lot more friendly. I'm not sure if I said it during this recording or if I said it on a previous attempt at recording this. Probably recorded this, I don't know, 8 times. We're just going to go with this take at this point. That this is going at like 16 times speed. So this originally took me 4 hours to do. I could probably speed it up quite a bit if I just, buckled down, got rid of all external stimuli, and just painted rather than listening to music, or I don't know. There's a couple of YouTube channels that I've found recently. The MoMA has a really good channel, the Museum of Modern Art. They talk about how to do paintings in certain styles and how artists in previous times did their style. It makes me appreciate a lot of those abstract artists that a lot of people hate on, and honestly, I kind of do too. But, to each their own. It's not my cup of tea. Doesn't mean that they have to do what I want, right? Anyway, if you got a chance, go ahead and check it out. It's alright. I don't know how many of you guys know this, but I do have an art degree, and I do like to paint, In an ideal world, I would just be painting and streaming and making stupid jokes like I normally do. I guess I should probably point at this point that I'm probably not going to be that funny in this video, and you're already like 4 or 5 minutes into this video wondering why I haven't told a joke yet. Because, I don't know, this is just me painting. I think in the future, in the same way that other people who do this style of content do, I'll probably just take questions either on Tumblr or email or whatever, and just answer those rather than try and fill the time here with everything that needs to be said. Again, let me know if you even like this kind of content. I think this is where I figured out that the manual focus was just better and how to use it. So there's still some issues because I wasn't exactly sure how to actually set the manual focus, but it doesn't have the constant readjustment focus thing going on. The other reason I'd want to put this onto a new separate channel is because YouTube has been doing some weird stuff recently. I'm sure you've heard about it, and I could probably make a video explaining this in more depth, but it's just, I don't know, it's depressing, and it just sounds like me complaining, and it honestly doesn't do any good to complain about it. Like, it doesn't change how YouTube's gonna act. Basically, the end of the day is just, you know, YouTube has to get its thing fixed, and it's gonna take YouTube deciding to do it rather than anything that you guys can do. If you want to know how to help streamers and YouTubers, or I guess just YouTubers in this case, just, you know, turn off ad block, share videos you like, watch videos you like, and otherwise you're fine. That's all you really got to do. But another part of this whole system is that they've made it so that way video game channels specifically are can be chosen to be not monetized by advertisers for me, which means that video game specific channels are, you know, not going to be monetized as heavily. So it seems like, you know, hey, I'm already doing art, I might as well just make a channel that is just painting, and that way the people on the highlights channel don't get bugged with all this art stuff that's not funny. You know, why are you making art, not just jokes? That makes sense to me. You know, you can separate out, and if you want both streams and, you know, like full streams, and you want highlights, and you want all this other stuff, then you can get that. You just have to subscribe to like 3 different channels. So people can kind of pick and choose what they want. I hate how well I did this and then realized that the stairwell is not wide enough, and so is that, you know, side part of the church. There's a lot of problems with this entire painting. I'd probably give it like a 7 out of 10 for just the quality of work that I normally do. There we go. There we go. Now I'm fixing it. Fixing it? Yeah, we're just gonna leave that in. But I don't think it will affect the amount of content on After Hours or stream or the highlights channel, because basically, you know, I'm already doing this. Like, on a weekly basis, I'm probably doing about 2 paintings, give or take, depending on the week. There are some weeks that are just crazy. So this would be a way to give you guys extra content without really disrupting that schedule. And it would mean, I guess, monetization of me doing art, which, considering that a tube of paint can be like $10 to $7, can be good. Especially blue. Blue is very expensive. Don't know why. Especially because I don't buy paint, like blue paint, that actually has hard metals in it. I'm usually buying cheaper Liquitex Basic or whatever. In fact, I think all of this is Liquitex Basic except for the black and the red. And the black is Winsor Newton Mars Black, and the red is Winsor Newton Crimson. Otherwise, it's just Liquitex Basic. I think it's a solid enough paint. I prefer the heavy body paint that they've got, but, you know, that is significantly more expensive for a smaller tube, and you know, I can make do. I can make this work, and I think, you know, despite this one not being my favorite painting that I've ever made, I think it's more than good enough to let out there. So here I'm adding a little bit of a highlight, because there's a hole in the roof in the steeple, and it's very subtle. It's very slight. So I didn't want it to be like fully there. You wouldn't be able to see it completely. I'm kind of using my pinky there to balance my hand so I'm not rubbing the palm, or I guess my wrist, along the edge. I have a really bad habit of using my fingers rather than my wrist or my arm to paint, and inevitably that causes a lot of kind of scratchy lines. If you want to become a good artist, don't get into that habit. Use your whole arm rather than just your fingers, and then you'll be a much better artist than me in a lot shorter of amount of time. I think this day that I'm this part of the video here, because this was filmed over probably a week of me just coming back to this painting, which is why occasionally the camera angle slightly changes. I've got a small enough apartment that I can't really have the camera set up in the same spot all the time, and every now and then I actually have to take out the battery, recharge it, and there's no way to take out the battery without removing it from the stand, so it's kind of a bother. There we go. Now I'm actually kind of fixing things up, making sure that that background actually looks good and I can actually get things. The main issues that I have with this, I think, are just basic structural, like, I should know better things. And part of it is just the weird camera angle that I got from the picture I took. I took a screenshot to do this. I wanted to actually do an arcade, you know, go back to an original concept that I had, but then I noticed that it was basically impossible to do an arcade of PUBG. Even with the copy pasting of houses that this game has, it kind of has a bit of an issue where I can't actually get a good angle. Like, you have about 2 minutes in any given area to just sit there, and unless if you land exactly in the center of the final circle, you're not going to be able to actually sit there for more than about 2 or 3 minutes. And I've made a few attempts while actually playing the game offline, just trying to do a arcade quickly. And a 2-minute painting, I mean, this is sped up 16 times, and you can see how long this is taking even still. It's just not physically possible for me, at least, to speed paint something like that. So it's better to just take a screenshot, which is kind of against the concept of the original arcade thing, where we sit there and actually paint from an image. Here again, I'm trying to get that light. There's a bunch of broken boards on the top of the church here, and that lets the light in. And it's very subtle. It's very slight when you actually look at it from this angle, but I digress. But yeah, I think perspective is the main issue with this painting, so that's why I can't give it a really solid, like, 10 out of 10, you did a good, son score. It's not a bad painting. It's good enough, but yeah, there are some weird perspective things, and there's a little bit of a color shift that I don't really care for. But yeah, I don't even remember where I was going with that sentence. Basically filling time so that way there's something to talk about, I guess. And this is kind of why I'm definitely going to have that Tumblr or email based question system, because otherwise there's going to be a ton of dead air. I think 10 minutes is a long enough video. At 4 times, this looks a little bit less frenetic, but it's also an hour long. Look at how long my cat just sits there, staring at the door, waiting for my girlfriend to come out and feed her. It's actually kind of intense when you consider how fast this is going. Anyway, at about 8 or so, she just starts bugging. She starts knocking stuff around and yelling and staring at me and ripping up the carpet, and that's her way of saying, "Hey, I'm hungry, feed me." And it's like, listen, you're not exactly starving to death. You'll be fine to wait until your feeding time at 9. You'll be okay. But she doesn't know how to use clocks, so she thinks it's 9 o'clock all the time. Doing a little bit of a cheat where I'm not actually painting the full staircase, each rung of it, because you basically don't have to with painting. A lot of art is learning what you actually need to add and what you don't. But I think it's pretty much done. And there's one last thing that makes the church in Pochinki different than all of the other similar churches, and it's this stupid tree that I hate so much, because there's a farm over on that side of Pochinki that is slightly obscured by this tree. And I really don't care for this tree. I don't think it's a particularly well-painted tree, not just my disdain for the tree in the game and its ability to block my shot, but also just my ability to paint this individual tree. But yeah. All in all, 7 out of 10 painting. Not my best, not my worst, it's passable. Now here's me faking my signature because for some reason I forgot to hit the record button when I actually signed it, and then I noticed, and so there you go. And there's a finished painting. You can get it on colinmullen.com. Here's me doing an awkward thumbs up because I don't know how to end this video, and I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, again, let me know. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye!